Hello everybody and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. 2 days after the 0-0 draw at the Emirates, and already we go again. It's tomorrow now the game. Ole's done his press conference. We've got Southampton at Old Trafford. Southampton, I believe, are decimated by injuries. I thought that already and they've just mentioned it on the press conference. Ole said that United have got no further injuries. Everybody's fit. He said he might need to rest a few. He didn't use that exact phrase, but he did say he's got to check on the tiredness of the players. But at the same time, he chops and changes the team all the time anyway, so it's difficult to predict. At the end of the show, it's a thankless task guessing what the team's going to be tomorrow. It really is. It's going to be real tough to get it right. But I will have a go guessing his lineup at the end of the show. First of all, just a couple of things about the 0-0 draw. A lot of people talking about the game, obviously, over the last day or so since we did draw 0-0 at Arsenal. A lot of people have said to me, and I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying, we didn't go for it. We didn't really go for the win that we should have gone for, and that we only deserved a draw and it was too negative. I honestly don't agree with it. I do not agree with it whatsoever. Not defending the manager at all. I think we need to play better, but I don't think you could really go. You can't really go for it in much bigger way than the amount of attacking talent, or certainly supposed attacking talent that we had on the field. I know the wide right position is probably not Marcus's best position, but Marcus started wide on the right. We had Cavani at number 9. We've got Bruno at number 10. We've got Pogba wide on the left. I know he's not a winger, but he does play left of a 3 sometimes. Okay, he's playing a little bit wider because it's a central 2 and then 2 wide men. But when you've got Rashford, Cavani, Bruno and Pogba in your lineup, the fact that he starts with McTominay and Fred, you've got to have some sort of cover. There's a lot of attacking talent there, or as I say, supposed attacking talent. So I don't really know what people are saying. I mean, some people say, yeah, but it's the instructions and the way they have to track back. Well, they don't really. Of course, they have to track back. You can't just stay up front and hopefully that we can win the ball at the back and carry it forward. You've got to have some kind of cohesion between the team moves up and down the pitch together. If we can dominate the ball and if we can keep them pinned back, all of our attacking players will be up the field, a lot of the time if we're on top of the game and controlling the game. But we're not. We had times where we control the game. So I just don't get it. I don't agree with people that are saying it should have gone for it better. We should have played better. Of course we should have played better, but I believe that's down to the players who are on the field. Some of it's down to the manager probably and the coaching staff for what they've done before they've gone on the field, but they couldn't go for it in any bigger way than the amount, and especially for the virtually the last hour after McTominay had to go off. You're taking off a midfield player who's doing a lot of defensive work. I know people say he's not a defensive midfield player, he's more box to box, but when you put Pogba into McTominay's position, you bring Martial on the left. So you've got Rashford, you've got Bruno, you've got Cavani, you've got Martial, and then you've got Pogba in midfield. And people are saying he should have gone for it more. I really don't get it. I did hear Gary Neville, I mentioned this once, I mentioned it on my fan cam to Flex. I heard Gary Neville say that they should have really gone for it and played with, or words to that effect. I think he sort of said, neither team have gone for it and really go for it by playing with 5 forwards. 5 forwards? When do you see a team play with 5 forwards? It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, does he actually mean genuine proper forwards? Because I mean, if you count Bruno as a midfield player, because I think he's a forward, I think he plays as a number 10, a very attacking number 10, and he's often right up alongside the number 9 and getting in the box. For me, Bruno's a forward, but most people think of Bruno as a midfield player. I don't think of him as a midfield player so much, a number 10 and an attacking number 10. So if he's counting Bruno as a midfield player, I've just written down 5 forwards: Cavani, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood and Dan James. I can't think of any other forwards. One matters more of a midfield player come forward. If we played with those 5 players plus Bruno in midfield, we probably get beat about 9-3. So, you know, great for a neutral perhaps, but I'm not a neutral. I'm a Man United fan. I'd rather draw 0-0 than get beat 9-3. Thank you very much. So I think I think the people are barking up the wrong tree. But we need to play better. 100% we need to play better. But by saying we should have gone for it more, I think you're barking up the wrong tree. And I think Gary Neville's even further out. He's absolutely miles out. Anyway, it's left us on got us to 41 points. So we've got 21 games played, 41 points. City have now got a game in hand on us, and they're 3 points in front of us. We don't need to, if we want to. I mean, look, I've not been thinking all along that we've got a great chance of winning the title, but the closer it gets to the end of the season and the longer you can stay in the hunt, the better. You know, we've got Southampton at home tomorrow. As I say, they've got a lot of players missing. You know, we've got to win that game and just stay there as long as we can. After we did draw that game on Saturday, by the way, fascinating results yesterday. I was genuinely thinking that before you know it, we'll really will be in a dogfight to be in the top four, which could still happen, by the way. But fascinated that obviously Leicester could have overtook us yesterday, but got beat at home by Leeds 3-1, which surprised me. Spurs could have crept up right behind us. They've got 33 points. They could have been on 36 points with a game in hand on us. So they'd have been 5 points behind us with a game in hand, but they got beat at Brighton. I'm impressed by Brighton. Every time I watch them, they play. So I wasn't surprised by that result. It was at Brighton. I really wasn't surprised by it. They're a good footballing team. They lack a genuine out-and-out goal scorer, but they're hard to come by anyway. They're hard to come by for a lot of clubs. So I wasn't surprised that they managed to beat Spurs. I also heard the commentator say that they've not let a goal in 3 games now. That's championship style football, that, not letting a goal in 3 games, let alone relegation fodder football. So well done to Brighton. As I say, I wasn't surprised. Obviously Chelsea, they might become a threat now. They've got the new manager bounce, as they call it. They had a tough game against Wolves and they drew, and then they won at the weekend. So they've climbed to 33 points, but they're still they're on the same games as us, so they're still 8 points behind us. But you know, that's not insurmountable. Chelsea could be on our coattails before you know it, and even Everton have got 2 games in hand on us, and they've got 33 points, so they're 8 points behind us. But even Everton, I'm not saying Everton are going to overtake us, no disrespect to Everton, but even they got beat 2-0 at home by Newcastle, which was a surprise result. If Everton could have won that, they'd be on 36. They'd be 5 points behind us with 2 games in hand. So a lot of the results went our way yesterday. Well, virtually every result went our way. Liverpool and West Ham, I found that interesting. I mean, which way do you look at that? West Ham are on 35 points. They've played the same games as us, so they're 6 points behind us. If they'd managed to beat Liverpool, they'd be. Look, we've got to. Obviously, I wanted West Ham to beat Liverpool. Of course, I did. You've still got to hope that you're in the hunt. But I always look at the positive side of it. If West Ham would have won it, they'd have been 3 points behind us. So you know what I mean. It's not a bad thing that West Ham dropped points, even though it's a bad thing that Liverpool did get the 3 points. So there was a lot of positives for us in the results yesterday after we'd made that, done that. Got that 0-0 draw. 1 point out of the past 2 games is a bit of a disaster, really. I would really be sitting here dead happy with it if we'd have beat Sheffield United last week. On Arsenal, by the way, they're on 31 points now. We're on 41 points, so they're 10 points behind us on the same game. As much as we're thinking we should have gone for it, we should have tried to win it, I think really more, not quite yet, but more or less puts Arsenal out of the top 4 race, mate. I really do. It's a lot of ground to make up. Liverpool have turned a corner. Make no mistake about it, they've turned a corner. They've had a bit of a slump. I watched them play Spurs during the week. Spurs are supposed to be a challenger, or they were a challenger not long ago. They absolutely played them off the park in a canter. And then they've had a good win at West Ham 3-1. They were 3-0 up at one stage in that game as well. So I think Liverpool are going to be right there at the death. They've turned a corner. I think it's going to be between Liverpool and City, and just possibly us, but we've really got to string a few results together now. We need to win 4 or 5 on the bounce, I think, to make sure we stay in the hunt. But Arsenal, I think that they've got to string a lot of results together now if they're going to have a chance of getting in the top four. There's a full fixture list this midweek. All the games are live on BT, all on one BT channel or another. Arsenal, as I've just said, they've got to string results together to have any chance of getting in the top four, and they've got a tough one tomorrow. I think they've got Wolves. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Arsenal are away to Wolves, and then it's us versus. I'm not going to list all the games, but the ones that I find any interesting. At 8:15, obviously it's us against Southampton, straight after the Wolves Arsenal game. On Wednesday, City are away to Burnley. The way City are going, I expect them to win, but it is a tricky fixture, Burnley away, so always say you don't know. Keep your fingers crossed, but I would fancy City to go there and win. Look, it's like that. The longer Burnley can hang on to it, it'd be a shock, but I wouldn't be absolutely amazed if Burnley managed to nick a 1-0 win. It can happen. But at the same time, if City score early doors, it also wouldn't surprise me if they run out 4 or 5-0 winners. So that's an interesting one. But I think the latter is more likely than the former. Fulham v Leicester is also at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Very impressed with Fulham recently. Very impressed. I really don't fancy Leicester to win. That Vardy's missing again, I think. He was missing at the weekend. I think he's out for a few games. And I don't fancy Leicester there. I really don't. I think I might flick between the two games tomorrow. I'll watch a bit of Burnley City, but I'm going to concentrate mainly, I think, on Fulham and Leicester. I fancy Fulham to take points off Leicester, so I think if we win our game, we might open a bit of a better gap up on Leicester. And Liverpool play Brighton at 8:15 Wednesday. I've just been singing Graham Potter's praises, really. The job he's doing at Brighton, it's fantastic, it really is. But Liverpool have just turned that corner and are looking pretty smart at the minute, Liverpool. I think it might be a step too far for Brighton, but it'll be a game that I will watch up until whatever time Liverpool get a couple of goals in front, and then I'll probably put Coronation Street on with the wife. Thursday, Tottenham and Chelsea. So there's a big one Thursday night. Spurs and Chelsea. If there's a winner in that game, that's especially if Chelsea can win it, they'll creep right up on like the top four race. Spurs are probably not. It's not too long ago Spurs were thinking themselves as possible champions. I'm sure they were. But if Spurs can win, they're on 33 points, Spurs. So they could get to, mind you, they're on the same points. Spurs and Chelsea are now on the same points suddenly. So if there's a winner in that game, it's a really important win. I fancy it'll probably end up being a draw and they'll both just be on 34 points after that. Spurs have got a game in hand on Chelsea though. Spurs' situation at the minute compared to us is that they are 8 points behind us with one game in hand. So we've got a good advantage over Spurs at the moment. What's Ole going to do? I'll have a guess at it. It really is a tough job guessing that for tomorrow night. There's going to be a few changes, I'm sure. I feel pretty sure he won't give Henderson a game. I think he'll stick with De Gea in the league game. I also think he might look. Make no mistake, I said it before the game. I said it in the live show before the game against Sheffield United. Don't make too many changes in your defence. And his defence, he made 2 changes in it, and I believe that cost us against Sheffield United. Your defence being solid isn't just about stopping yourselves from conceding goals. The more solid your defence is, and the better you get hold of the ball and stop the opposition from breaking on you, the more possession you can have. So your defence being solid can also lead to you having more possession, which in turn can lead to you having more chances, which obviously in turn can lead to you having scoring more goals. So you've got to have your defence right. That is where your basis of your team is. It's got to be right. And hopefully, and I think he will have, I think he will think to himself that he made a mistake last week in resting Luke Shaw at the same time as Victor Lindelof. So I'm gonna have a guess that tomorrow night it'll be De Gea in goal. I think you'll see the normal back four: Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, and Shaw. Midfield pairing's a proper tough one to guess, but I'm going to go I think he might rest McTominay after his stomach problems. A lot of people weren't happy with Matic's performance against Sheffield United. It's frustrating when you lose, but I thought Matic played perfectly fine, kept the ball well. We've got to pass the ball better, and Matic's pass completion rate was great. Some people will be saying a lot of it's sideways, a lot of it's backwards. He only does that when there isn't a forward pass on. If there isn't a forward pass on, we need to keep the ball. That's what City do, that's what Liverpool do. Don't be playing forward passes that are not really on. Give it sideways, give it backwards if necessary, get it again, and then look, and the players move around and different options become available. So I thought Matic wasn't too bad at all against Sheffield United, but I don't think he'll put him back in. I think it'll be Pogba and Fred. I think Bruno will play again. I'd give Van der Beek a run there, I really would, but I think it'll be Bruno at number 10. I think Cavani will probably start again, and I thought Martial looked impressive when he came on. Certainly played better than Rashford did at the Emirates. So I'm going to go Martial will start on the left, and I think Rashford will get a rest. I don't think he'll pick him on the right again. I don't think Greenwood's been pulling up any trees. I think the one surprise, I'm going to guess that there's going to be one surprise on the right. This Diallo that we've signed, is he even in the playing? Is he a signed-on player, i.e. in the Premier League squad? I'm not sure that he is, so I'm not going to suggest that the youngster will get a game there. I'm going to say that either Juan Mata or Dan James will start wide on the right against Southampton tomorrow. So there's my guess. I'm just going to do that as a flip of a coin. I'm going to say De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. I'm going to say Pogba and Fred, Bruno at number 10, Martial on the left, Cavani at 9, and wide on the right, either Juan Mata or Dan James. They're both champing at the bit for the game, I'm certain of it. There's a chance he could play Van der Beek there. His best position is number 10. Lots and lots of people on Twitter saying play Van der Beek wide on the right. He might do, but he hasn't done it yet, so it would be a bit of a shock to me if he was to do that. That's that. Whatever team he plays, desperate for the 3 points, really, really want us to stay up there, not just as a top 4 challenger, but a championship challenger. The longer we can stay in the hunt, the better. Don't expect us to be there at the death, I really don't. But the longer it goes on, the longer we can stick around, the more I might start feeling a little bit more confident. If you've enjoyed that show, please subscribe. Please tell all your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, don't tell anybody. Keep stum.